You've been there, haven't you? Waiting for him to make the first move, wondering why he's not as interested as you hoped, feeling like you're always one step behind. It's frustrating. You give, you wait, and yet it feels like nothing is ever quite enough to make him chase you the way you want. The games, the uncertainty, it all starts to wear you down. But what if the key to making him chase you, truly chase you, wasn't about playing harder to get or pretending to be someone you're not? What if the secret was something far simpler? What if the power to ignite his desire and make him crave your attention was already in your hands? Stay with me till the end of this video, because what I'm about to reveal will change the way you think about attraction forever. You've felt it, haven't you? That sensation when someone walks into the room and you can feel the shift in the air. They haven't said a word, but something about them is magnetic. Something that pulls you in without you even realizing it. And it's not just the way they look or the clothes they wear or the way they smile, it's something deeper, something you can't quite put your finger on. And yet you're drawn to them. You want to know more. You want to understand why they feel different, why they make you feel different. And the truth is, they don't have to try. They don't have to be loud. They don't have to perform. This, my friend, is the power of subtlety. Attraction isn't about shouting for attention. It's about quietly commanding it. It's not about doing more. It's about doing less, but doing it with intention. It's the spaces between your words, the pauses in your movements, the little glances that leave him wondering what's next. It's the air of mystery that surrounds you, not because you're hiding anything, but because you're confident enough to leave some things unsaid. So why do we often make attraction so complicated? Why do we overthink every word, every move, every glance? We try too hard to be perfect, to be everything, to be noticed. And in doing so, we lose that natural draw, the one that comes from just being yourself in a quiet, powerful way. Think about the last time you were captivated by someone. Was it because they were trying to be all things at once? Or was it because they left you with a sense of curiosity? They made you wonder. They gave you just enough, but not everything. And that's where you've been going wrong. We all want to be noticed. We want to be seen. But in our desperation to be acknowledged, we forget the simple, magnetic power of letting someone feel like they need to know more. The power of leaving them wanting more. You're probably thinking, but how do I do that? How do I create that sense of mystery without playing games or holding back who I am? The answer is simpler than you think. It's about being deliberate with your presence. When you interact with him, don't rush to fill the silence. Don't feel the need to be constantly speaking, constantly explaining. Let moments of stillness linger. Let there be space between what you say and what you don't. Allow yourself to exist without the pressure of having to perform. In that space, something powerful happens. You stop over-explaining. You stop over-sharing. You stop trying to control how others see you. You simply are. And that is magnetic. When you stop doing, when you stop chasing after attention, you start creating it without even realizing it. The way you stand, the way you speak, the way you look at him, all of it becomes infused with an energy that says, I don't need you to notice me, but I know that you will. This isn't about playing games. It's about embodying a confidence that says, I am enough as I am. The truth is, attraction thrives in the spaces you leave unexplored. It thrives in the gaps between the moments, in the subtle cues that make him wonder, what's next? It's about allowing him to see just enough of you to spark curiosity, but not giving away everything too soon. It's about knowing that your worth is not in what you reveal, but in what you keep for yourself. Think about how you've been approaching connection. Have you been trying to force it? Trying to make him see everything? Trying to be everything for him all at once? That's not how attraction works. Attraction isn't something you can force. It's something you cultivate by creating a sense of intrigue, by allowing him to discover you piece by piece. So how do you create this air of mystery? It's in the little things. It's in how you hold yourself, how you choose to engage without overdoing it. It's in the pauses between your words, the way you make him lean in just a little bit to hear what's coming next. It's in the way you hold your gaze just long enough to make him wonder if there's something more beneath the surface. But it's also in the way you choose to pull back. The key to subtlety is understanding when to give and when to hold back. You don't have to be all things at once. You don't have to share everything about yourself in one conversation. In fact, doing less, saying less, can make him want to know more. It makes him lean in, asking himself, who are you really? And when you leave that question open, when you don't rush to fill in all the blanks, that's when the real attraction begins. You may be used to thinking that attraction requires grand gestures or showing up as someone you're not. You may think you have to be louder, to be bolder, to chase after attention. But what if the secret is in doing less? What if the real power lies in knowing when to hold back, in giving just enough to spark curiosity, to make him want to discover the depths of who you are? You've been chasing, but now it's time to stop. Stop chasing after his attention. Stop overthinking your every move. The more you chase, the more you push him away. But when you step back, when you allow space for him to come closer, the pull becomes irresistible. The desire becomes mutual, and that is where true attraction is born, not from force, but from the quiet, subtle power of knowing that you don't need to do more to be enough. You already are. You've been there, haven't you? Giving pieces of yourself to someone, only to feel like they're not as invested as you are. It's frustrating. You try, you open up, but it feels like there's always a wall between you two. Like no matter how much you give, they're not really there. And you start questioning what's wrong with me. What more can I do to make him see me? To make him care the way I do? But what if I told you that the key to deep connection isn't giving everything away? What if the secret isn't in revealing more, but in revealing just enough? What if emotional intimacy is not about pouring your heart out all at once, but about creating a space where he feels safe to come closer, to open up, and to trust you? It's easy to think that to get close to someone, you have to give them all of you, all at once. You feel like you need to bare your soul, share your deepest fears and desires, just to make them feel something. But here's the truth. Emotional availability is not about oversharing. It's about knowing when to open up, when to let them in, and when to keep some pieces of yourself just out of reach. There's power in withholding. Not because you're playing games, but because you're protecting the parts of yourself that deserve to be respected. You don't have to give someone your entire life story in one conversation to make them feel emotionally connected. Think about it for a moment. The people you're drawn to, the ones who captivate your attention, not because they are perfect, but because something in the way they engage with you feels safe, it feels real. They're not revealing everything all at once. They're offering just enough. Enough to make you want to lean in, to know more, to discover them. That's the magic of emotional availability. And that's where the balance lies. You don't need to be a closed-off enigma, but you also don't need to pour your soul out on the table for everyone to sift through. It's about offering glimpses, not handing over the whole picture. When you reveal too much too soon, it's overwhelming. It can even feel desperate. But when you open up in measured doses, giving pieces of yourself at the right moments, you create a dynamic that invites him to come closer. It's in the way you listen, in the way you speak, in the way you leave room for him to share his truth, without you rushing to fill the space with your own. Emotional availability means being present without pushing, allowing someone to see you without losing yourself in the process. It's a quiet magnetism, a strength that draws them in without you ever having to force it. But here's the thing, emotional availability doesn't mean giving up your boundaries. It doesn't mean you should throw open the doors and let someone walk all over you, or try to make them feel something they're not ready to feel. It's about knowing where your boundaries are, knowing what parts of yourself you need to protect, and only sharing what you're comfortable sharing. And the beautiful thing is, when you strike that balance between openness and mystery, you create a space that's both magnetic and safe. He feels drawn to you because he knows you're not trying to control the situation. You're simply being real, offering him just enough to let him know you're worth the chase, but not so much that he can easily walk away with all the answers. You see, the problem is often that we overextend, we give too much too soon, and in doing so, we drain the mystery. We give away our power by oversharing in a bid to be accepted, to be loved. But love isn't won by being an open book from the very first chapter. True connection is built over time, piece by piece. It's the slow burn of trust, of mutual respect, of learning to be vulnerable without overselling your worth. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be everything to him right away. The beauty of emotional availability is that it's about being real. It's about knowing when to let him see your heart and when to hold back just enough to keep him wondering, to keep him wanting more. You have the power to make him crave your presence, not because you're constantly giving, but because you know the value of restraint. You know when to show up and when to step back, allowing him to lean in. And that's where the transformation happens. When you begin to understand the art of emotional availability, you start to realize that you don't have to chase after anyone. You don't have to beg for their attention or prove your worth. You are enough, just as you are. By offering pieces of yourself in a way that invites trust but doesn't overwhelm, you give him the space to discover who you are at his own pace. And that's when the real connection happens. That's when he feels emotionally safe enough to come closer. And when that happens, the bond between you isn't just physical, it's real. When you stop trying to force emotional intimacy and allow it to unfold naturally, you'll find that everything starts to feel more effortless. There's no need to chase after him, no need to compete for his attention. He will feel the pull, not because you're overexposing yourself, but because you're creating a connection that makes him want to know more. You're showing him that your heart is a treasure, and you're willing to share it only with someone who values it enough to deserve it. In the end, you'll realize that emotional availability isn't about giving up pieces of yourself for validation. It's about protecting what's most precious and giving just enough to create the kind of connection that lasts. You don't need to chase after anyone. When you open yourself up in the right ways, at the right moments, you'll find that everything you've been searching for has been waiting for you all along. You've felt it, haven't you? The moment when the spark starts to fade, when the excitement you once felt begins to wither away, and you realize that things have become too predictable. You know his moves, he knows yours. The thrill of discovery is gone, replaced by routine, by comfort, by a lack of mystery. And somewhere in that predictable pattern, attraction begins to slip through your fingers. It's easy to fall into this trap, especially when you think that the way to keep someone interested is to give them everything. Give them certainty, consistency, safety. You give all of yourself, every piece, so there's no guesswork left, no mystery to unravel. You think you're doing it for the right reasons. You want to connect, you want them to know you, to feel secure. But somewhere along the way, you forget this truth. Attraction thrives in uncertainty. It thrives in the unknown. The unpredictable, the thrilling possibility that something might change, something might surprise. When things become too easy, too clear, the spark dies. People aren't drawn to certainty, they're drawn to the unknown. It's in the chase. It's in the feeling that the next moment could be something completely different from what they expected. And without that element of surprise, the connection starts to feel stale. So how do you bring that unpredictability back? How do you keep him on his toes, craving your presence, craving what's next without resorting to games or manipulation? It's simple. The secret isn't in pretending to be someone you're not or playing hard to get. It's in being yourself, but being dynamic. It's in embracing change, in allowing yourself to be a little unpredictable, a little spontaneous, a little mysterious. You don't need to give him everything all at once. You don't need to offer up all of your feelings, all of your thoughts, all of your vulnerabilities at once. Instead, hold a little bit of yourself back. Leave some things unsaid. Let him wonder about you. Let him experience the joy of discovering something new about you each time you're together. That's the power of unpredictability. It keeps him coming back for more because he's never quite sure what he'll get. But he knows it'll be exciting, it'll be worth it. It's not about playing games or creating confusion. It's about staying dynamic. You are a person with layers, with dimensions, with depth. But when you fall into a pattern, when you become too predictable, you stop allowing those layers to show. You stop being the intriguing, multifaceted person you are. You start giving him the same thing over and over again, and the thrill fades. What if, instead of always being the person who responds first, you let him wonder? What if you let the silence sit there just a little longer? What if, instead of always being open, you held back just enough to keep him guessing about how you feel, what you think, where you stand? You don't have to change who you are or manipulate the situation to make him chase you. You simply need to remember that you don't have to reveal everything. You don't have to be predictable. Embrace your own unpredictability. Let your moods shift. Let your thoughts evolve. Let your interests change. You don't need to be the same person every single time. In fact, you're not. You're a complex human being with layers that deserve to be discovered over time. You are meant to be something new and exciting, and in that, you become irresistible. This doesn't mean playing hard to get or keeping him in the dark. It means embracing who you are, all of your complexities, and knowing that it's okay to show different sides of yourself as you feel comfortable. You don't need to give him the same thing every time. You can surprise him. You can let him see a different side of you, one that he hadn't noticed before, one that keeps him wanting more. When you do this, when you stop being so predictable, you create a magnetic pull. He will start to wonder about you in ways that he never did before. He will feel the tension build, the excitement return. Every time he sees you, it will feel like the first time, because you've allowed him to experience you as something new, as something unpredictable. You've allowed him to crave the next moment with you, not because of what you gave him, but because of the mystery that still lingers between you. You're not withholding because you're trying to make him chase. You're withholding because you're protecting your own energy. You're reminding him that you are worth the pursuit, that you are a person who has depths he hasn't fully explored yet. And when you do this, when you embrace your own unpredictability, you make him chase, not because he has to, but because he wants to. That's the shift. That's the transformation. It's about owning your dynamic nature, your evolving self, and showing him that you are a world he can't predict. You don't have to make him chase you by playing games. You simply need to stop making it easy. Stop making yourself predictable. Be someone he has to keep getting to know. Someone who surprises him in ways he didn't expect. Because when you do this, when you become someone who is unpredictable in the best ways, you will see the attraction grow. You will see him chasing you, not because you forced it, but because he's drawn to you in ways that are deeper than just physical. He'll crave your unpredictability because he'll realize that with you, he can never truly know what comes next, and that in itself is what makes him want more. Have you ever felt like you were giving everything to someone, but somehow they seemed less interested over time? You pour yourself into the relationship, share your thoughts, your time, your emotions, and yet it starts to feel like something is slipping away. The connection is fading, and you wonder, what happened? Why does it feel like he's pulling back, like he's losing interest when all you've done is give him more of yourself? It's a painful feeling, isn't it? You want him to chase you, to long for you the way you long for him. But the more you give, the more he seems to withdraw. You try harder, you give more of yourself, but nothing changes. In fact, it only seems to get worse. The more you're available, the more you're around, the more you think you're doing right, yet the less he seems to need you. So what's the answer? What's the key to keeping him interested, to keeping him desiring you, wanting you, craving you? Here's the truth. It's not about giving more of yourself. It's not about being more available. It's not about throwing yourself into his life until there's no mystery left. No space between you to make him miss you. In fact, the opposite is true. Space, both physical and emotional, is often the most powerful tool in attraction. When you give someone too much of your time, too much of your energy, you dilute your value. You become predictable. They don't miss you because you're always there. There's no anticipation, no longing. The connection becomes stagnant. But here's the thing you need to understand. When you pull back just enough, when you give him room to breathe, you make him miss you. You give him space to think about you, to feel that ache when you're not around. And that's when the desire starts to build. It's not about disappearing completely, but about creating moments apart where he has the chance to crave your presence, to remember why he was drawn to you in the first place. The hardest part is knowing when to pull back. It's hard because when you feel the connection slipping, your instinct is to reach out, to close the gap, to fix what feels broken. But the truth is, the more you try to close that gap, the more you chase him, the more he starts to feel suffocated. You become a constant presence in his life, and that constant presence becomes the very thing that pushes him away. Think about it. When is the last time you felt truly desired by someone who never gave you space? Think about the times when you were left to wonder, when you were left to think about them, when you were left to miss them. That desire didn't come from them being too available. It came from them having their own life, their own interests, and then choosing you in their life, choosing to make space for you. Space is powerful because it sparks desire. The more you're around, the less special you become. The more you give, the less he feels the need to chase after you. But when you pull back, when you create moments apart, when you give him the room to miss you, everything changes. He starts to remember what he likes about you. He starts to remember the way you make him feel, the way you challenge him, the way you make him think. He starts to realize that the connection you shared is something he doesn't want to lose. It's not about disappearing entirely, though. It's about maintaining yourself, having your own life, your own passions, your own interests. When you pull back, you don't retreat into yourself. You simply stop overextending. You stop chasing. You stop trying to prove your worth. You start living your life in a way that makes him want to come back to you. The space you create is not an absence of affection. It's an invitation to desire you more. You don't have to be constantly at his side for him to crave your presence. In fact, the more you pull back, the more he will see the value in being with you, in spending time with you, because your presence becomes something he cherishes, something he seeks out. It's the quiet strength of knowing that you're not available on demand, that you're a person worth pursuing. But here's the key. This space must come from a place of self-assurance. You can't create space and expect him to chase you if you're doing it out of desperation or fear of rejection. If you're pulling away just to make him miss you, if you're pulling back to manipulate the situation, he will feel that. But when you pull back because you trust yourself, because you understand your value and your worth, it becomes magnetic. The space you create isn't just physical, it's emotional. It's in knowing how to let him in, but not let him own you. It's in knowing that you don't have to be constantly available to prove your worth. You don't need to sacrifice yourself to be loved. You don't need to lose yourself to make someone desire you. You are enough as you are. And when you recognize that, when you start living that truth, that's when you can create the kind of space that invites someone to chase you, to crave your presence. It's not about playing games. It's about respecting your own time, your own energy, and your own worth. When you start valuing yourself in this way, when you stop overextending and start creating room for both of you to grow, the attraction becomes mutual. He will miss you, but more than that, he will want to be with you because he realizes how rare your presence is, how valuable it is. You are the one who sets the tone. You are the one who controls the space between you. And when you allow that space to breathe, to grow, to create a healthy distance, you will see him come closer. Not because you chased him, but because you let him come to you. Have you ever felt like you were giving everything, pouring your energy into a relationship, hoping that somehow it would make him feel what you feel? You want him to desire you, to see you the way you see him, but it feels like you're doing all the work. You give and give, but something's still missing. That spark, that deep connection, it's just not there. You might think it's because you're not enough, or you're not doing the right things. Maybe you've been trying too hard, bending over backwards, giving him everything he needs in the hope that he'll finally look at you and see you as someone he wants. But let me ask you this. What if the problem isn't about doing more? What if the key to making him feel desired lies in doing less? There's a subtle art to desire. You can't force it. You can't chase it down. The more you push for it, the more it slips through your fingers. It's not about being desperate. Not about showing up in every conversation or constantly being available. Desire isn't born from constant presence. It's sparked in the spaces where it feels earned. When you chase someone, you dilute your value. You give yourself away too easily. You lose the mystery. You lose the tension that makes someone truly desire you. Instead of creating a connection that makes him want to step forward, you end up creating a dynamic where he's not the one chasing you, because you've already given him everything. Desire thrives on balance. It thrives on knowing how to show him that you're interested, without being too interested. It's about making him feel like he has to earn your attention, your affection. It's in giving him just enough to keep him intrigued, but never giving him everything right away. When you show him that you have value, that you are your own person with your own life, your own passions, your own world, that's when he begins to crave your presence. The truth is, you don't have to fight for someone's desire. When you respect your own value, when you know that you are enough, you start attracting people who see that too. You stop seeking validation because you've already validated yourself. And when you do this, you create a space where he can't help but want to know more about you. He will want to chase you, not because he has to, but because he's drawn to you. He needs to know more, because he feels something deeper. You have to give him a reason to step up. You have to show him that you are someone worth pursuing. And that doesn't mean you play games or pretend to be someone you're not. It means you are unapologetically yourself, with boundaries that protect your emotional energy, with confidence that doesn't rely on his approval. When you're not constantly available, when you're not always at his beck and call, he starts to see you as someone valuable, someone worth working for. But here's where the challenge lies. You have to make him feel desired, but not desperate. It's a delicate balance. When you make him feel wanted, you open the door to connection. But when you overdo it, when you start giving too much, you risk suffocating the attraction. Desire is mutual. It's not something that's one-sided. You can't be the only one putting in the effort. You have to let him take his part in the dance. So, how do you communicate your desire in a way that doesn't compromise your value? It's in the way you listen, in the way you speak, in the way you show interest, without overloading him with affection. It's in making him feel seen, but without being too eager. When he sees that you are confident, independent, and know your worth, it ignites something in him. He begins to crave your attention, to chase after your approval, because you've shown him that you are someone worth chasing. You've shown him that your presence is something earned, not expected. This isn't about being cold or distant. It's about being warm, but not overwhelming. It's about offering attention and affection, but also knowing when to step back, when to create a little space between you two so that he can miss you, so that he can feel the desire growing. The more he feels that he has to put in effort to win your affection, the more he will want you. And this is where the magic happens. You stop chasing. You stop waiting for his validation. When you give yourself the space to breathe, when you stop relying on someone else's attention to feel complete, that's when you become irresistible. That's when he starts chasing you. Not because you've done everything to make him want you, but because he's learned that you are someone worth pursuing. The truth is, Desire isn't about being constantly available. It's about knowing when to hold back. It's about letting the connection build slowly, letting him experience the thrill of wondering what's next, letting him crave your presence because it isn't always there on demand. When you stop giving everything right away, when you let him work for your affection, when you show him that you are a treasure worth the chase, that's when he will truly want you. He will want to know you on a deeper level, emotionally and physically. He'll start stepping up, making the effort, showing you in his own way that he values you. So let him chase. Let him earn your time, your attention, your affection. Because when you create the right space, when you stop being the one who's always giving, you'll see something incredible happen. You'll see him want you, not because you've given him everything, but because he feels like you're someone worth desiring. And when that happens, that's when you realize the power was always in your hands. You just needed to stop giving it all away. Have you ever been in a room, talking to someone, and for some reason, you can't look away from them? It's not because of what they said or how they looked at you. No, it's something deeper. There's an energy, a feeling that pulls you in, something unspoken that you can't quite explain. And it's powerful, isn't it? It makes you feel seen. It makes you feel important. The truth is, attraction doesn't always come from what's said. It's the things you don't say that have the most power. The way someone moves, the way they stand, the way they touch you, or even the way they look at you. These things speak louder than words ever could. And here's something that might be hard to hear. You've been using your body without even realizing its power. Every glance, every movement, every shift in your posture is sending a message. And that message is either drawing him in or pushing him away. It's time to learn how to control that message. It's time to master your own body language. The thing is, you may have been giving him the wrong signals without realizing it. Maybe you've been too closed off, arms crossed, shoulders hunched, eyes down. Maybe you've been too open, over-enthusiastic, always giving him everything, never leaving any room for him to wonder. What you might not realize is that your body has been telling him everything he needs to know about you, whether you meant to or not. The way you carry yourself is more telling than any words you could say. When you walk into a room, how do you move? Do you hold your head high, shoulders back, chest open, making yourself present? Or do you shrink, looking for the nearest corner, avoiding eye contact, signaling that you're not sure you belong? Even if you don't think anyone is looking, your body is already speaking. It's already sending a message about how you feel about yourself. Think about the people who make an impression on you. It's not just because they're charming or handsome. It's because they have a certain energy, a confidence in how they present themselves to the world. It's in the way they stand tall, how they carry themselves like they know they belong. You feel their presence before you even hear their voice. Now think about how you stand, how you move when you're around him. Do you sit back, arms crossed, avoiding him, or do you lean in, facing him with open body language, eager to share, to connect? Do you make eye contact, letting him see the depth in your eyes, or do you look away, hiding parts of yourself? Every little gesture you make is telling him something about how much you value yourself, how comfortable you feel in your own skin. But here's the thing, you don't have to overdo it. You don't need to put on a show. The most powerful body language is the one that's natural, not forced. It's in the subtle things, the way you tilt your head when you're listening to him, the way your eyes brighten when you're engaged, the way your body turns toward him when you're interested. These small natural movements make all the difference. They say, I'm present, I'm interested, I'm here with you. And he picks up on that. He can feel it without you saying a word. And then there's the power of touch. Touch is an incredible tool, one that can make him feel wanted. But it must be used wisely. You can't give too much too soon, or it will lose its meaning. But a gentle touch on the arm, a hand placed on his shoulder when you laugh together, a brief touch on the back as you pass by, these things create connection. They make him feel you. Make him feel your presence in a way words can't capture. You don't have to chase him. You don't have to constantly try to get his attention. All you have to do is show up with your body, with the energy that says, I'm worth pursuing. The more you show up as your most authentic self, the more he'll be drawn to you without even knowing why. The right body language, the right posture, and just the right touch, it's enough to make him want to chase you. But you must learn to control it. You must become aware of how you move, how you speak, how you position yourself in a room. You're sending messages all the time, whether you want to or not. And you need to make sure that those messages are aligning with what you truly want. When you walk into a room, do you feel your own power? Do you walk in as though you belong there, as though you have nothing to prove? Or do you shrink? Do you hold back? Do you hide your true self because you're afraid of being too much? Confidence is not about being perfect. It's about owning who you are, fully, without apology. And the way you carry yourself, the way you use your body, is a reflection of that inner confidence. You don't have to be loud. You don't have to chase him. You don't have to overthink your every move. What you need to do is stop shrinking, stop holding back, stop apologizing for your existence. When you take up space in the world, when you stand tall, when you make eye contact, when you let your body express the confidence you have inside, that's when he will feel drawn to you. That's when he'll begin to chase you. Not because he has to, but because he wants to. He wants to uncover more, to get closer, to experience the power and beauty of your presence. And that's the magic. When you stop thinking that you have to chase after him, when you stop thinking you have to prove your worth, when you stop shrinking yourself to fit into someone else's expectations, that's when you become irresistible. Not because of what you say, but because of how you are. That's when the chase begins. That's when he'll want you. And you'll realize you don't need to chase him. You've always had the power to draw him in, simply by showing up as yourself. You've probably been there before, right? Wanting to feel that spark, that playful energy between you and someone you're interested in. You've probably given everything, said all the right things, maybe even tried too hard to show you care, but somehow it still doesn't feel like enough. The connection is there, but it's almost too serious, too predictable, and no matter how much you show interest, it feels like you're still one step behind. Now imagine for a moment, what if the key to igniting his desire wasn't in doing more, but in doing less? What if you didn't need to chase him down or wear yourself out trying to prove how much you care? What if the real spark came from a playful, light-hearted connection, where the chase felt like something fun, exciting, and most importantly, mutual? Teasing, when done right, is the secret that most people don't even realize they're missing. It's not about being mean or playing games. It's about creating a dynamic that keeps him on his toes. Not because he feels forced to win your attention, but because he genuinely wants to keep chasing. When you tease with intention, you're inviting him into a space where he's engaged, interested, and yes, ready to step up. But here's the tricky part. You can't force it. You can't just throw out a sarcastic comment or make fun of him in a way that feels cruel. That's not playful teasing. That's manipulation. Teasing that works. Teasing that makes someone feel drawn to you, makes him want to chase, comes from a place of mutual respect, a shared understanding of what feels fun and exciting. It's about being light, not heavy. It's about knowing how to flirt without overwhelming him, about keeping the energy playful instead of desperate or needy. Think about the times you felt truly captivated by someone. Was it because they were constantly throwing attention your way? Was it because they were always right there, always available, always giving you exactly what you needed without hesitation? Or was it because they made you want to know more? They kept you guessing, kept you intrigued. They sparked your curiosity. And in that space, something beautiful happened. You chased, but you didn't mind. It wasn't about them forcing you, it was about you being drawn in. That's the power of playful teasing. It's the ability to create a connection that's light and fun, where the tension isn't overwhelming, but it's enough to make him want more. And here's the thing, you're not losing control by being playful. In fact, you're gaining it. By allowing him to step up, by leaving a little bit of yourself out of reach, you create space for him to want to earn your attention. You see, when you stop giving everything away up front, when you stop trying so hard to make him see your worth, it creates a dynamic where he feels like he has to win your attention. And that's a beautiful thing, because when you allow him to chase, you're not pushing him away. You're letting him engage with you in a way that keeps the desire alive. But you've got to be strategic. Playful teasing isn't about playing hard to get. It's about creating moments where the connection feels exciting, unpredictable, and mutual. It's in the way you make a joke, lightly tease him about something he said, or challenge him in a playful way that doesn't feel mean-spirited, but makes him want to keep up. It's about having fun. And in doing so, he has fun with you. It's about showing him that your attention is something worth earning, but without making him feel like he has to fight for it in an unhealthy way. Think about the last time you were with someone and they made you laugh, made you feel special, without ever having to say anything too deep or intense. They made you feel light, made you feel live. That's the kind of dynamic you want to create, where there's a sense of playfulness, a sense of joy. And the best part is you don't have to go all in. You don't have to pour out your heart or drown him in affection to make him feel connected to you. Instead, you show up with energy that's magnetic, full of fun and intrigue, leaving him wanting to know more, wanting to be around you because it feels exciting, not exhausting. There's a beautiful freedom in this, isn't there? You don't have to beg for attention. You don't have to make someone see your worth by showing them everything all at once. When you give him just enough to keep him intrigued, when you make him work for it just a little bit, you create a desire in him that feels mutual and authentic. It's not about playing a game, it's about letting things unfold in a way that feels natural, spontaneous, and fun. And here's the most powerful thing. When you begin to master playful teasing, you start realizing that you don't have to constantly prove yourself. You don't have to show how much you care or constantly give. You simply need to. When you show up with that playful energy, with the confidence that says, I'm worth chasing and I'm worth enjoying, you create an attraction that's irresistible. So how do you make him chase you? You stop chasing. You stop over-giving, over-caring, over-pleasing. You pull back just enough to keep him wondering, to keep him engaged, to keep the attraction alive. The more he has to earn your attention, the more he will value it. And in the end, you'll realize that the power wasn't in doing more. It was in doing less, and doing it with intention, with playfulness, with confidence. That's the true magic. When you master the art of playful teasing, you're not just making him chase, you're allowing him to see you as someone worth pursuing. And that's when the desire you've been craving starts to unfold, effortlessly, naturally, and beautifully.